peace and love. Let's get into it.
Up next, we are getting into a pretty new one. I think this came out recently from Muse. We heard one of their new ones last night as well on the stream, and it was absolutely awesome. This was requested by an old friend of mine who I used to live with, who I've been in several bands with when we were young, and you know, he's an absolute trooper for putting up with living with me when I was like 19, 20, because that must have been a nightmare. I don't know if you're lurking today, J-Man, Josh, but if you are, thank you so much for this request. I'm going to put it on YouTube if you're not here. So all good. Thank you so much, buddy. And this is Muse, Hexagons. Oh my god, there were so many amazing ideas in that intro. I loved at the beginning how it was kind of in free time a little bit at times, slowing down and building up. It was kind of like replicating an arpeggiator in a way, sort of playing a guitar like a kind of 80s arpeggiated synth, and how that music would be composed back then, and then applying that compositional technique to guitar like composition, right? And then the way it like crashed in and built up, it then went more into kind of, I don't know, like just 90s big, like 80s 90s metal elements here, you know. Just an enormous sound, always with that kind of that epic spaciness that Muse brings to everything, but very, very explorative, you know, for Muse in general, a band who are not afraid to touch on every single genre with what they compose. And I just felt that there were so many elements of so many different things in that. I'm a little bit like bamboozled, musical bamboozle. It's bloody good. in a nutshell.
I'm a marionette with severed strings. Gorge on my soul while I'm weak and dying. Haunted by futures I can't
So it's really interesting how it then went into that arpeggiated synth style completely. And I wonder what kind of came first. I suspect that they wrote these synth parts and then Matt Bellamy was like, wonder what this would sound like playing this on guitar. And then the intro was born outwards from the bass of the song. Which is very common, you know, when you have a song, it's just like, I think I've got an intro for this. Let's guitar it up, but it's all based around that, and that style of arpeggiated synth is always used, is so often used for space and conveying that vastness. I think there's an association with all of us. With those synth sounds, one because they've been used in soundtracks so much for like space movies, you know, but also like they sound spacey because they sound like spaceships, don't they? It sounds like weird little machines that we don't understand, that somebody on the deck in Star Trek is tapping away on and going bleep 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 bleep, and it's like, well, they're doing something, they're setting coordinates and resetting the hyperspace shield, and I don't know. I think it's got that to it, doesn't it? It makes you feel like you're on a spaceship with all these kind of machines whirring and moving and bleeping all around you while you're on this epic adventure. I think that's kind of what that music creates, you know? And as Jace says, a whole space vibe. They're really leaning into it, this album. Yeah. And I'm so glad, because I feel it's always been there with Muse. It's always been their thing. So why not go further? You know, why not keep on leaning into it? Go further with it. And I feel that Muse have gone full Muse at this point. You know, they've fully realized themselves in a new way, like and really just pushing that. It sounds incredible.
Resistance is mass
That's going straight into another song, isn't it? That build up. You know, the next song on the album just goes straight on from there. It's got to. Beautiful imagery throughout this video. I really enjoyed it. This little dot here moving around. Stunning, thought-provoking, and just engaging all the way through. I loved the kind of dynamic shifts between the spacey synths, the heavy like arena power metal guitar going on, and then the ethereal vocals of Matt Bellamy, interspersed with the technical, beautiful like fills. The drums were really, really tight on this, really exciting, and always capitalizing on doing the absolute most they can. Muse as a three-piece band, always really, really pushing the limits of what they can do between the three of them to make such grandiose sounds, you know, because they're a three-piece band that sounds like 12. And it's a magical thing they do. I'm really, really enjoying this album. Everything I've heard from it so far has blown me away. Look at the hexagon there on the top of that. Very, very cool. Thank you again, Josh, for requesting this. Josh is an amazing bassist himself and a really, really awesome songwriter. So I've worked with him on projects before. So yeah, big love to Josh. Take care, my friend. Thank you so much for requesting this. That was Muse, Hexagons.